Alrighty, guys. Morning. It is Tuesday morning, March 14th, and it is 8:45 and time for our daily devotion. So it's a little bit cold this morning here in Ohio. It's Ohio weather. Back and forth we go. So Annabelle was wondering why was it so cold, because she thought it was spring. And so anyway, today we are going to be in Psalm 37 this morning, verses 7 through 11. And so let me go ahead and read it, and we will see where it takes us. So it says this. It says, "Be still before the Lord, and wait patiently for Him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. Refrain from anger and turn from wrath. And do not fret, it leads only to evil. For those who are evil will be destroyed, but those who hope in the Lord will inherit the land. A little while and the wicked will be no more. Though you look for them, they will not be found. But the meek will inherit the land and enjoy peace and prosperity." And so, in this passage, David once again is he is inviting us to not get caught up in the competing or perhaps comparing our lives to those around us. Essentially what he says is that the kingdom of God, and he doesn't use this kind of language, but what Jesus then referenced later, is that the kingdom of God, there's only one way to get ahead, and it's not by striving forward, but it's by waiting patiently for the Lord. He begins the psalm by saying, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him." And the phrase there, "be still," it literally means to rest in God. Not to strive forward, not to push harder, but to retreat and to rest in God. He also says not to fret or don't worry. He says to not worry, not to fret, and to refrain from anger. You see, the thing about worrying, especially about stuff that we cannot control, is that it only leads really to two places. When we worry, it leads to either a place of debilitation, in the sense that we are so overwhelmed by the stresses that we can't do anything, that it just debilitates us. I think I'm saying that right. I'm the worst with words. But it paralyzes our lives. And so sometimes worry can do that. It just paralyzes us. But the other end of the spectrum of worry is anger, and trying to take matters into our own hands and trying to fix our own problems. And what ends up happening in those places, that instead of paralyzing our lives, we end up complicating our lives. And if you're like me, you end up making things worse than they originally were. And so he says, don't do that. Don't do that. Just rest. Rest in the Lord. For the evil will be destroyed. That in a little while the wicked will be no more, he says. And then he finishes, at least this passage here in verse 11, he says, "But the meek will inherit the land and enjoy peace and prosperity." And Jesus, he picks up on this in Matthew 5. He says the same thing. Now, meekness, what does that mean? Meekness doesn't mean weakness. In the 60s, a meek person isn't a weak person. A meek person is just one who chooses, instead of to perhaps act aggressively, they choose instead to be gentle and humble, and to live from that posture of humility and gentleness of spirit. And the only way that I've ever learned how to be gentle and humble is to serve other people. that instead of trying to strive and instead of trying to succeed, that you take the posture of a servant and in humility serve them. And Jesus says that that's the way to be. When everyone else seems to be getting ahead in life because of evil schemes, that you and I are to take the posture of a servant, that the meek will inherit the land. And so hopefully that makes sense to you guys today, that instead of complicating our lives or being paralyzed by the worries of our lives, that we are to rest in the Lord, to be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. And so I don't know what the invitation or the challenge is for you, but I know that for me it's an invitation not to fix all my junk, but allow the grace of God to do that. And so, yeah. So today's Tuesday, by the way, and it's Take Time Tuesday, and so I think it's great that this psalm kind of lines up with that God's calling us to be still. And so today, take some time to be still, take some time to rest in the Lord, and spend some time in that. I'm getting an Amber Alert on my phone, so I don't know if that's messing up this thing up. So anyway, blessings to you guys. Hope you have a great Tuesday. Stay warm out there, and we will see you tomorrow. Blessings. Love you. Bye.